Hello, I am Shushai Adane. It is now just about 2 years since Tigray became under such a genocidal war. The Council of Tigray has therefore established its own commission of inquiry on Tigray genocide. What are the progresses this commission registered so far? In the meantime, the United Nations has established its own international commission of human rights experts on Tigray genocide, and it recently has presented its initial findings of its investigation of the genocidal war in Tigray so far. So how did the commission established by the government of Tigray see that? This will be discussed in our today's program. My guest today is Associate Professor Yemane Zeray, the commissioner of the commission established by the Council of Tigray. Stay with us. Welcome to the program, Yemane.
Thank you, Shisha, for having me in your esteemed program.
Okay. What progress did you register so far, especially by taking your mission into account?
So far, we have achieved to enter into more than 1 million households. A million households. We are making our assessments on census basis because the genocidal war is a total war which doesn't spare any place in Tigray. It covers every place in Tigray, every locality, from west to east, from north to south. So there is no place which can be free of the effect of the war, the genocidal war, the effect of the crimes. So we cannot use samples. Geographically, all parts of Tigray is being covered. In terms of aspect, the whole life of the people is covered. The whole life of aspect of the life of the people is affected by this war. Because of that, we have identified 6 major thematic areas. The first one is the human loss that we are getting, the human damage that we are entertaining, human being in terms of physical life, physical and mental one. Secondly, whether of course it is a human damage, but gender and sexual based violence is with special nature that we have seen in Tigray, so we have to treat it separately. So we have this second thematic area. Thirdly, we have the economic damage that we have to assess. Economic damage in terms of the damage, not only the damage, but the losses, direct and indirect losses, and all kind of costs that we have. A given building may not be damaged, a given hotel may not be damaged, but the losses that it incur in terms of economy is a very great one. So we have to see this. We have infrastructural damage, a lot of infrastructural damage that we have able to get, and in the last 3 decades. We know that Tigray, as part of Ethiopia, was doing well in the last 3 decades. Much of the Millennium Goals that we were working on together with the international community were doing good in terms of education, health, road, and whatever we can mention. Almost all kind of the basic infrastructures are damaged or affected directly or indirectly. So we have to work on such one. The phase one is the environment. The environment is also the one which is seriously affected. Environment in terms of climate, environment in terms of soil, water, the forest. We had incurred a lot of deforestations in the last 2 years that the people of Tigray was working day and night very hard. Mothers carrying their children were working on restoring their environment. So what is the impact of this war should be assessed and studied because that can sustain the losses for the period that we don't know. And lastly, we have institutions. We have culture, values that we had built for thousands of years. Tigray, as you know, is the center of civilization that the Horn is proud of. And we have a lot of such values, such institutions, whether they are cultural or religious ones, political ones. We had a very strong government which was playing a positive role in the developmental aspects. So, but in the last 2 years, the perpetrators for they had a systematic way of destroying what the people had. They had designed a genocidal war, had destroyed a lot of institutions with all the values that they have, whether they are cultural, religious, and others. We had a lot of values that we sustained for thousands of years but distracted. We have to study the impact of such genocidal war on these things, and we have tried to work on these things on three phases. The first one is on by doing a total holistic census, going door to door to the household that we have. We estimate we have 1.6 households in Tigray, 1.6 million households in Tigray, covering more than 8 million people. So we have to go there and count on the impact of the war on each individual, on each family. We have tried to reach more than 1.2 million girls and women which may be affected by the gender-based sexual
1.2 you said?
million, house to house, and we have reached until now about 1 million with this regard. Girls, women above 15 years age according to the international standard. If they are below 15 years, they will be considered in the household one. Each girl in a family will be interviewed accordingly, and we have reached. The second one is investigation to be done differently. Investigation on human loss, investigation on the gender-based violence, investigation on the environment, and investigation on heritage losses that we have. Four kind of investigations, and we achieved to collect. To bring investigation with more than 26,000 investigations that we do through interviews and other mechanisms that 26,000, that the scientific way of doing such investigations are required. The third one would be initial assessments on damage on institutions, whether they are governmental, public, and private institutions. And now we are finalizing preparations on doing such initial assessments. We have more than 400,000 institutions in Tigray, government institutions owned by the government, whether they are service providing or administrative ones. We have more than 162,000 private institutions, 2,000 private institutions which are commercial service providers and industries, starting from the micro and small enterprises to the biggest complex institutions. And we have also more than 100,000 public institutions that we say, which are whether they are cultural, religious, and communal ones like Edder and others. And we have to make an assessment on these issues, covering mainly on the economic losses that we have and the other things. Next to this, we have also to move on advanced level of investigations that we haven't yet started, which needs more technical knowledge, more finance, and more equipment, scientifically developed equipment that we require support from the international community and from the diaspora Tagarus in Europe or USA. Until now, we are working on the simple investigations that we can do. It doesn't mean that we will wait for the advanced ones. We have universities, we have a lot of research institutions in Tigray that were established during the good old times, and we have the human capacity. We do with that we'll begin working on investigations which may need laboratories like forensic investigations, which may need some satellite images and others, but we still believe there will be limitations with regard to such kind of investigations, only working with local capacity. We may need international support and support from people living abroad with different level of partnership capacity.
Thank you. You said you tried to knock at 1.6 million households, but there are still areas you cannot buy in any means reach, which are still under the invading forces. Yeah. So what do you mean by that? If you try to reach all these households, what about those areas which are still under the occupation of these invading forces?
Good question. When we estimate such number, it was clear for us that there will be families out of reach of our investigation. By the way, the mandate of the commission is not only in Tigray. It extends beyond Tigray. In Tigray, we assess everything which happens in Tigray. Institutions owned by foreigners are also will be included in our investigations and assessments. Additionally, we'll assess the impact of the war on Tagarus outside of Tigray, like whether they are in Ethiopia or outside of Ethiopia. We have thousands, wherever. We know that there are thousands of Tagarus in the Middle East which cannot come these days because of the war. If they come, they will be imprisoned. There are tens of thousands of Tagarus imprisoned in different part of the country, so-called Ethiopia, and there are Tagarus in Djibouti, Sudan, and others as refugees because of the impact of this genocidal war. We will assess these things also. So it is not only the Tigray territory which is not under our reach, but such areas are also our mandate that and our assignments that we have to cover for. The areas,
the impact of the genocidal war in Tigray and out of Tigray is yet to be assessed.
I forgot earlier to mention this. In the not liberated areas, in the areas which are under the occupation of the invading forces, where we will use a two-step assessment. The first one is we have more than 1.5 million IDPs IDPs from Western Tigray. Much of the IDPs are from Western Tigray, some from Northwestern Tigray, some Central and Eastern Tigray, and we are working on 69 IDP centers also as part of the waradas. We are working on 84 waradas and 69 IDPs. The 69 IDPs are mainly from those not yet liberated areas, but we still know that such assessments on the IDPs are partial assessments that are not to be full. So we are working also on preparing ourselves on working the full-fledged assessment when such areas are to be liberated, and we believe that those areas will be liberated in the near future. They will not continue to be under occupation. Occupiers are always occupiers. They will live forcefully or otherwise. So we'll fulfill whatever is left with this regard on having a comprehensive study, comprehensive inquiry and investigation. So it is a good question that you have mentioned.
Okay, thank you. The United Nations International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Tigray presented its initial findings. I hope you might have read it, right? Yeah. So the Commission in its report has indicated that violations amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity were committed. So how did your Commission see that, especially taking all what you mentioned so far into account? In other words, taking the reality on the ground into account.
Okay. The Commission, the first preliminary initial finding report has shown us two things. The first one is the Commission at least has started working on its on the cause of its very existence. We remember when this commission was being established by the decision of the UN Human Rights Council, there were lots of opposition from the, especially from the Ethiopian government and some allies to make its establishment be unfulfilled. The Ethiopian government was claiming that it has already assessed what has happened on Tigray because of the war by the so-called joint investigation team done by the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission together with the UN Human Rights Commission. However, the Tigray government, allies, Tigray diaspora and all the people has clearly objected that the joint investigation team has failed to do what it had to do, at least as commissions of human rights. Though the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission is a commission which clearly is sponsored by the Ethiopian government. So even after the establishment of this special commission, the International Commission of Human Rights Experts in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian government has done a lot of things to make the work of this commission unsuccessful by different diplomatic lobbies, but the commission sustained such lobbies, such efforts, and started to work on its investigation. When this commission came to Addis, we were expecting that it will come here and work on its investigations in Tigray with a full physical investigations on site and with a full comprehensive one. But to our dismay, it couldn't come here because the Ethiopian government has restricted it and it cannot come. So it worked its investigation from remote through database reportings and also through phone interviews. But still, it has shown us one thing, that through such very few samples for us, from the millions, it has brought hundreds, maybe, I don't know. From the hundreds, it can see the depth of the impact of this genocidal war on Tigray, the depth of the crimes that has happened in Tigray. At least it has put three factors. It has mentioned, declared three factors. Firstly, when the occupiers were in Tigray, in the now liberated areas, they have committed a lot of things. Paradoxically, it didn't mention much about Western Tigray still, but at least from the areas that it has get through the remote reports, it has put a lot of crimes which are so grave in terms of scale, in terms of coverage, the gravity of the crimes, one, that the crimes were done intentionally, the intent, and the target groups. By that, it has put the actors at least one. Secondly, it has recognized as a fact that even after the enemy forces, the genocidal forces were get out of Tigray, they continued their crime through the complete siege that they have put in Tigray. So it recognized the siege that we have, the people is living now as a continuation of this genocidal war. And it has put also some sayings, claims, declarations from authorities. Thirdly, it recognized that now a third wave of invasion is opened to Tigray, and it will aggravate the crimes that still has sustained. These are very important declarations that the Commission has brought. But still, though the report itself has put its limitations, it has serious limitations. The first limitation that the report didn't mention is the word genocide. It put only crimes like war crime and crime against humanity. These crimes are serious crimes, very serious international crimes that they should be put, and the actions, the perpetrators should be identified and should go to arenas of justice. It's nice, but it failed to mention the word genocide, so that it cannot show the depth of the crimes that are committed on Tigray. It put intent clearly that the perpetrators had clear intentions of doing those things, that they were prepared systematically with a clear national supporters, governmental supporters. It clearly put that. It put the target groups like ethnicity, like Tagarus, but it failed to link those things that we expect in the final report the Commission will correct. And it clearly has recognized its limitations with regard to the limitations of remote investigation. The Commission requires in its recommendations that it still needs a comprehensive on-site studies and investigation. The limitations that it couldn't access not only Tigray, but in other part of Ethiopia, it couldn't access even refugees in Sudan and Djibouti. It couldn't have a clear link or kind of relation with the Eritrean government, that the role of Eritrea should be assessed separately. And even UN and other international institutions couldn't give much attention to the issue, so that its work is affected by those things. So it clearly accepted its limitations, that its work is not comprehensive. But still it showed us, with such limited samples, it showed us what kind of grave crimes had been committed on Tigray. Had it has the chance to come to Tigray, to see the feeling, to see what has really happened, to use the scientific methods on ground, we may clearly understand what kind of findings it may bring. So we as a commission are happy that the commission is established, has worked on its mandate, and has brought, though unfinished, though with partial one, a report which tries to show the reality and the factors. But still, we expect much to be done by the Commission with the 3 months that it is left. But we believe that with the depth of the problems, with the coverage of the problems covering millions and all localities in Tigray, such a study, such investigation cannot be done in months. It needs much time, more time that it requires also. It needs more resources, more involvement of actors. And we also expect that not only this commission, all actors at the international level should also work with the people in Tigray, the institutions in Tigray, which are feeling the reality on the ground, and they can also contact us, that we are working, we are trying our best to get the truth, the facts on the ground with regards.
Okay, but how one could possibly be convinced that the international community was prevented from coming to Tigray by the federal government, if it was really interested to investigate the reality on the ground by just, yes, as you said, on site, yeah? So are you convinced that Abiy Ahmed has the power, or the regime in Addis has the power, or the authority to stop them from coming or from moving to anywhere they want, in this case, to Tigray? Yes.
I think
to what extent is that convincing?
To live upon its mandates and responsibilities at this age of 21st century. For me and for us, it hasn't learned much from history. In the first decades of 21st century, in the last decade of 20th century, in the 1990s and first decade of 21st century, there were a lot of declarations, which were bringing hope to the world community, that the world has learned much and much from what really has happened in history, especially in the 1990s. What has happened in Rwanda, what has happened in Yugoslavia and other places cannot be repeated.
Never again.
It was saying never again, and at least it cannot be repeated in the near future. But it has failed. There were declarations, conventions, which constitute international law, like the responsibility to protect vis-a-vis the issue of sovereignty. States are sovereign, we know, but in the name of sovereignty, governments controlling state power cannot do everything that they want, because governments, we know, are made up of people, group of people, sometimes individuals, as dictators, may control such powers, and the world seems to learn that this is wrong. A liberal democratic world is established. When we say liberal democratic world, it is not only to be solely based on sovereign state. Rather, sovereignty would be balanced by universal community. Because universal problems were being seen as problems which can be solved by our collective one. So the so-called issues of collective security that the UN is established as its first mandate has also failed. Collective security versus separate national interests are meant to be balanced, but it failed. The so-called responsibility to protect vis-a-vis sovereignty of state has failed. Sovereignty was meant to be balanced, to have some limit on some issues. Sovereignty on day-to-day public political issues can be respected, but on so-called universal human rights, or so-called universal communal, like universal culture, common things, it should be applied. That anyone who is in Africa will be equal to one which is in Europe or America. A common human value has been promoted in the last 3 months. But the world for me has failed, and I am sure it will face the consequences. It has started facing the consequences. It couldn't stop the suffering in Tigray. It was declaring, it was proclaiming declarations, statements, but no action. And it is observing also the same issue in Europe on Ukraine and Russia, and we don't know where this can be stopped. So for me, the world is not doing what is expected of itself. We know the basic problems are to be solved by ourselves, but it was not meant to work like that. It was meant that we are part of the world community. So what happens to us will affect negatively others. What happens to others will affect us. So on the so-called common grounds, the world will work as the same one. Millions of people suffering in all aspects of life is eyes of the world, which is meant to observe with innocence of minutes by the technology that it has, but still living in a darkness. More than 7-8 million people is living in a darkness now in Tigray, cut out of the world, except the so-called few NGOs.
Yeah, for almost 2 years now.
For almost 2 years. So with regard taking the so-called scientific development that we have, taking the so-called international law and the declarations, feeding the laws, we can say that the world has failed us.
Okay.
And we have to really rely on ourselves.
I don't know if it is possible or allowed according to your commission's rule and ethics. Anyways, what does the assessment you did so far indicate? In other words, do you think the violations committed here in Tigray or the atrocities amount to genocide?
Clearly, yes. We have tried to.
I'm asking you the findings of your assessment so far.
I know.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to be frank that we haven't finished analyzing the millions data.
So far, I mean.
We just worked on some samples of investigations, and almost all the workers, some 200 cases on investigation. All the areas that we have tried to analyze amount to the crime of genocide. No question on that. No question on that. The issue is the level in terms of number, the level in terms of economic costs, and how we can take this issue into justice. It cannot be done because we believe that it is genocide. We know it is genocide that happened to us, but the perpetrators have to be penalized in a proper legal procedures. So organizing it in a way to be presented in a legal panel, bringing it, analyzing it in all economic costs so that it can serve us to the rehabilitation, first for ourselves, secondly for partners, international and others, is the one which is to take us time. Otherwise, no question on what really has happened to us. It is not because we are here and we feel. It is because we have worked on that, on scientific ways and on the standards that the international community expects.
So why do you think the international community failed, as you mentioned, of course, to mention or to call it by its proper name, genocide? You said it already, the international community doesn't have any problem with regard to documents or evidences, thanks to the technology of the 21st era, right? So why do you think, is an individual opinion, I'm asking you?
For me it is because of working as international community. Still, international community is a community of states, so-called sovereign states, which are limited with fulfilling not their universal responsibility, but only their national, international interests to be interpreted by group interests for me. That's why it has failed. Declaring genocide as per the international law brings some responsibility to the states that they should act upon, but still they fail. They refrain to act upon such thing. They refrain to clearly work on it because they require some resource, some time and other things, and they don't want that. They want only to work on their group and national interests, and for me, which is wrong. For the things that require us, the problems that require us, still need a partnership, international partnership, still need cooperation at international level, not competition at international level. The international community still is influenced by the realist thinking of international theories that states should work only to maximize their national interest, not universal one, which we were believing that is changed by at least, if not totally idealistic one, at least a universal thinking of cooperation. And I'm sure it will learn soon by the ramifications of conflicts in other places that it has failed Tigray, and it will work on correcting its mistakes.
Okay, thank you. Maybe my last question. Did you have any mechanism to communicate with the experts of, with the international experts of human rights established by the UN that presented its initial findings this week? Did you have any mechanism? Have you ever communicated them?
Yes, as you know, and as I have told you, we are on total blockage.
I know. Any mechanism, I said, yeah.
I am coming to that. The mechanisms that we have are so limited internet connections that we work with different institutions. Through that, the Commission was able to have an online summit with the government of Tigray, including the president and including us for the first time in the last months. Secondly, we were able to send some letters to the commission. They were requesting us clarifications, even on some allegations that the Tigrayan forces were meant to commit crimes in some parts of Amhara. We have just responded properly, and the commission has recognized it in its report that the Tigray government has properly communicated it, has responded it, and we are also responding to this report through our external affairs office, and will continue communicating it as the means are to allow us. But still, it is a problem of it is a serious problem that we have in terms of communicating to the outside world. So if we are not to communicate them well, it is not because we don't want them. It is because we are in a problem, in a war. Otherwise, the government, including our president, has clearly told them that they are welcomed here. They can come here. They can work from here. We are more than ready to give them what they need, the data that we have at hand, and we welcome also investigations, even on issues that our forces are alleged to commit as crimes, and we are trying our best to provide them what they need. So, though limited, we have communications.
Thank you very much indeed. Once again, let me give you one more chance if you have anything that you would like to add, be it a message to the international community or to whoever it may be. Let you take the chance.
One thing that I can say is the people of Tigray can and will sustain this genocidal war. Will not be annihilated and finished by this war. These people are very strong people with thousands of years of civilization, and it cannot allow enemies to finish what it has. It will sustain. But sustaining it is costing it a lot of things through physical to the environment. After we get our full freedom, we need to establish ourselves as responsible actors, responsible political body in the Horn of Africa, as responsible body in Africa, in responsible body in the world. To do this and to be this, we need to work on a fast, quick rehabilitation and reconstruction workers, and they have to help us with this regard. But to get fast rehabilitation and reconstruction, we need to know what has really happened to us, and we have to study it well. And our commission is trying its best with this regard, but still it needs all kind of supports that can be provided from the international community to really know what really has happened in a more scientific, technical ways. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed once again to be the guest of this program, Yemane.
Thank you.